I'm not gonna forget you. Just like you're not gonna forget me.
When I was a kid, I remember seeing a few movies that really spoke to me. These movies were so memorable to me because I walked away feeling sort of transformed in some way. Like, I would see some of these movies and I wouldn't be able to shake them for weeks. And these movies were absolutely in no way like Citizen Kane caliber movies necessarily. They were kind of targeted towards me at the time that I watched them as a teenager. Now, one of these movies was Juno. Something about the characters and their quirky wit, the movie's score, little things that drew me in, like the brilliant use of music. I was learning how to play guitar at the time, I don't know, it just got under my skin. I wanted to live in that world and be friends with those characters. There were other movies like that, movies like 500 Days of Summer, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, and Almost Famous. Will I ever hear Tiny Dancer again without thinking of this movie? It's been a long time since I've watched most of those films, like several years. I also don't know how much I'd necessarily care if I did rewatch them again right now. Something was lost along the way. I think the magic of those movies was that when I saw them, I felt nostalgic for something that I couldn't put my finger on, something I might not have even experienced yet, but I knew I already missed. I felt almost heartsick after seeing some of these movies. I barely remember some of the finer plot details, but I definitely remember the feeling that those movies gave me. I got completely swept up. It was like falling in love. And then, at some point in my life, without warning, I guess I sort of just stopped feeling that way about most movies. Not really, at least, and certainly not to that extent. I started appreciating cinema even more as I aged through my teenage years and into adulthood, and I watched movies that I really liked and even loved. But I never felt that way again, that wistful heartache of longing to stay in that world with those characters. And then I watched Licorice Pizza. Now, I like most, if not all, of Paul Thomas Anderson's filmography, and I knew I would probably enjoy this one too. I saw the trailer for Licorice Pizza in theaters a couple years ago before God knows what and was immediately intrigued. And then the movie came out and I didn't see it. I think a part of me was unfortunately repelled by internet dudes who ripped apart the movie while completely missing the point. Instead, I went to see Spider-Man with the rest of the world and moved on. But over the last year, something kept pulling me back to Licorice Pizza. I think a part of that draw was that even a year later, I still knew pretty much nothing about this movie. I think there are a few ways of analyzing Licorice Pizza, but to dig too deeply would be to overcomplicate something beautifully simple. This is a movie about being young and getting older. It's about the dreamy sense of endless opportunity that kind of disappears once the responsibility of adulthood catches up to you. The credits rolled, and just like that, I was transported, like falling in love. I keep going back to the sheer earnestness of the performances from lead actors Alana Hayim and Cooper Hoffman. Both of these performers, particularly Alana Hayim, have this raw, almost uncalculated energy that heightens the narrative and really just made this whole experience better for me. Alana and Gary are both charismatic and extremely likable characters on their own, which might seem kind of like an obvious foundational element in a movie like this, but the charm that both of their actors bring to these roles can't be understated. The fumbling tension that develops between the two is captivating and immediately apparent from the first conversation Alana and Gary share at Picture Day. Many see the narrative of Licorice Pizza as disjointed and sometimes directionless, and if you feel that way, you might have gotten the point of the movie. The question is whether or not you enjoyed it. Yes, sometimes the movie's a bit aimless, which is to say that it isn't constantly moving with muscle car momentum towards a neat and meticulously curated conclusion. Licorice Pizza's happy to take side roads with plenty of pit stops, as long as we get to each one fast. Alana and Gary are constantly running in this movie, sometimes towards each other, sometimes to anywhere at all. But they're always running with that clumsy, youthful eagerness to get somewhere, do something, be somebody. This movie is a celebration of discovering that somebody and the failures and successes that we encounter in the clumsy run towards adulthood. Look, if it isn't clear, I love this movie. When I heard the horns kicking in Taj Mahal's Tomorrow May Not Be Your Day during the end credits, I felt overjoyed? Which is unfortunately such a rare and weird thing for me to say about a movie these days, but that's like how I felt. Maybe I just watched this movie at the right time. I had just finished Manchester by the Sea and this was a complete tonal 180. But really, I just think that thematically Licorice Pizza connected with me. I felt nostalgic for Gary's youthful determination and self-assuredness, That magic hour feeling that you can make something happen by a little more than excitement and sheer power of will. And I felt a deep emotional resonance with Alana, 20-something and a little too old to be acting like a kid, but also not quite ready to face some of the ugliness of adulthood. So often people are compelled by a movie because of the way that it speaks to their personal traumas, losses, grief. With Licorice Pizza, it's like falling in love again. Thanks for watching, guys, and if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and consider subscribing. It goes a long way towards helping me out. Did you love Licorice Pizza like me? Are you a hater? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to talk some more about this movie. More film stuff to come.